Actually, I don't know if this is gonna work. Hello? I don't know if this is even... Just gonna give it a couple minutes. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Say hello when you jump on. Welcome to the Emotional Authority Hangout. Hello, guys. Welcome, welcome. I'm just going to give it a couple minutes for people to drop on because I did just send everybody messages or like little notes. Say hello when you pop on. I want to know who's watching. Welcome, welcome. I can't see any comments, but so today on this call we are talking about the emotional authority. I'm just going to get a little situated here. And we are going to go deep into all of the gates. I'm not going to give the definitions of the gates, but I'm definitely going to speak on them in the way of how they impact your emotional authority. So we're going to be talking about the different waves that they produce and why your emotional authority can sometimes feel different than others. So if you're a new follower and this is the first time that I am ever getting to meet you or that you're watching me, I want you to know that I am a 6'2" emotional projector, and I talk about this all the time on my platform, is that I have big emotions. I feel the full spectrum. I feel all of the waves. I actually have all of the waves in my center. And I'm a big emotional person. When I'm excited, you know I'm excited. When I'm sad, you'll know I'm sad because I'll share that with you. And so I just wanted to give some knowledge about this center because not only do I feel like it is part of my purpose to be here. My emotional authority is really part of my purpose, and that there is a lot of knowledge in this center, but also that this is the most difficult authority in human design because it is very complex, and everyone's emotional authority actually can look different. And the reason being is based off of what is in your chart. So if you haven't already, I want you to pull up your chart or have it handy with you. I'm just going to have mine handy as well so that I can use it as a great example to explain to you what it is that we'll be looking at today and how it can impact making decisions. There are emotional authorities in our that are not very big emotions, but they feel the full spectrum. There's also emotional authorities who have all of the waves and they feel all of the things all the times. So we're going to be going into that. I'm going to be giving you that knowledge, and I'm also going to be giving you guys some tools on like, what does it mean to lead yourself with an emotional authority? What does it mean to navigate yourself through these waves? And what does your waves kind of look like? And helping you bring awareness to this part, because your emotional authority in human design is 90% of the work. In order to align with your chart, 90% of the work is to master your strategy and your authority. And when you master that, the rest of it just works out. And then you can start going deeper into the knowledge. So I also, at the end of it, I do have, hey girl. I do have an offer that I'll be sharing with my emotional authorities that is only for you guys. And so stay till the end and I will share that with you. But before we get into that, I've written out a story for you, and I will be getting vulnerable here. I'm going to be sharing my story with you. So, do I have your permission to pull back the layers of who Taylor Klotz is? I have written this out so that you can understand who I am. You can learn more about who I am and the path that I've walked till now. And yes, this is my Taliara. This is my most magical goddess. So thank you, Shannon. So I'm just gonna set the scene here. I wrote this, I want to speak on what is happening in the world and also tie it in with human design. Also tying it in with how it impacts your life and how you look at things. So tying everything in. I'm just going to put a song on here to set the mood as I read this. Okay. So hopefully you guys can hear that. So let's get in here. I'm gonna read this off. I'm gonna try not to cry because there's some very vulnerable parts about who I am in this story. And I ask that you hold space and that you just accept me in all that I am. So over the course of many years here on Earth, I have endured a lot of pain and suffering. Alcoholism, abuse, and chaos were all a part of my childhood, and a lot of love at the same time. From my early childhood, I have experienced a lot of pain and bullying consistently, from the first grade up until the 12th, and even in my 30s, I still continue to experience bullying at this time. In 2018, I started my business, and oh man, I lost my spot. In 2018, I started my business, and I started to speak up about my story. I started to share with people my why, about what has happened to me, and why I'm creating this business. I wanted to speak about the why behind wanting to create a community that was full of heart-centered beings, helping women overcome the many struggles that we go along in life, and help them succeed on the other side. I wanted to share my driving force, the many little humans that I have part of my life that drive me forward, to build a better life for not only them, but also for myself. And as I continued to speak up and share my story, my worst nightmare happened. The bullies from the past surfaced, amongst new ones that I've never known. People from my hometown, people that I thought were my friends, started to falsify my story, telling everyone that I was lying about it, telling everyone that I was trying to get attention, and that none of what my story is true. Even so far as having an old best friend walk around town telling everyone that I am a mess. I've been bullied over and over and over again for many years on end. I've experienced abuse from the ones that I loved the most and thought that I could trust. I have been cheated on by every single partner I have ever dated. I have dealt with depression from the earliest age up until 25. I've been suicidal 3 times significantly in my life in that period before 25. I have been raped and drugged and so scared for my life that I was unsure if I was ever going to live. Fearful of the anger that was being projected onto me, I have no doubtingly endured a lot of pain in my life, but it will never amount to the pain that people of color have dealt with consistently. Because in every single trauma I have experienced, I was able to eventually walk away and find a safe space. Maybe not always in the moment, but eventually I was able to find a safe space. I was able to walk away and ignore the bullies, block them, even so far as starting a new life wherever I wanted, because I have the freedom to go anywhere in the world and have a higher chance of being accepted than a person of color would. I don't fear walking down the street. I do not fear not getting a job because of my name. I don't even experience oppression from the system. If anything, I actually greatly benefit from it because of the way that I look and my color. I have a higher chance of becoming successful because of my looks and color, and I know this. This is my white privilege. I live in a city right now, actually, where I am the minority. I'm surrounded by Indian families and a mixture of races, but I am one of the very few white families in my neighborhood. I have neighbors that won't play with us because we are white. We have actually been told directly that they aren't allowed to play with us because white kids are bad news and rebellious. And I mean, I can't really argue with that because as I look back on who I was growing up, I was rebellious, so I get it. However, I'm a really good person. I am really heart-centered, and they're never going to know that because they've never given me the chance to actually get to know me. And in this extremely small glimpse that I get to see what it's like to be a minority, in this small glimpse, it will never amount to the magnitude that a person of color feels from the rest of the world. When I moved here, in my neighborhood, I didn't think it was a big deal. I didn't think about racism. I didn't think about our neighbors. These thoughts were never things that crossed my mind. They were never a part of my life. I never had to think about how this would impact my family. I figured, I'm white. That didn't even cross my mind, to be quite honest. I feel like I have this freedom that I can live anywhere I want and I will probably be accepted. And that's truth. As an emotional authority, I am able to comprehend the pain that is going on in the world. And I'm able to remember every time I was bullied. I am able to recall the sadness, the suicidal thoughts, the self-hatred that I held inside of me from these experiences in my moments of weakness. I'm also able to use my mind to calculate that if I had to feel this pain every single day of my life, that I probably wouldn't be here. So within that, I want you to imagine, what would you do if you dealt with looks, rejection, bullying, abuse, murder of your people, every single day of your life, never having a safe space to go, stressing every day if today you will live another day, if today you won't get those looks when you go out in the world. That when you're a child growing up, your parents have to have a conversation or train you how to deal with cops, putting your hands up. My name is, and I have nothing to harm you. I am not of danger. Teaching little kids, imagine if you had a life that started off like that. I ask you to imagine this because you have the ability, as an emotional authority, to understand and comprehend the fear, the pain, the hurt that the people of color go through. You are capable of understanding it without living it. And that is the power of an emotional authority. I want you to know that I will continue to use my platform to bring awareness, and not because I have a niece and nephew that are half black, but because I do not stand for racism. I do not stand for bullying, and it is not a part of my platforms. Now, the moment I see it, I will shut it down, And I encourage you to do the same thing on yours, in whatever way that feels correct for you. Just because I am choosing to use my platform to spread awareness, knowledge, and teach on racism and what's happening in the world does not mean that this has to also be the same thing for you. But I ask you to tune inwards of, what do you stand for? And one of the biggest things is that if I had to consistently deal with these traumas and this pain that I have been through in my life on a consistent basis, I probably would not be here. Because in the trauma and the experiences that I have felt now, I struggled with depression. And that came from being bullied consistently over and over. I created my brand for the pure fact of shifting this narrative that goes inside of us. I realized that my depression I dealt with up until the age of 25 was due to deep, deep self-hatred for who I am, who I had inside of me. Over the week, I've questioned if I should even launch this course that I'm about to tell you about at the end. Because I feel like there's a part it's not important. It's not as important as what's going on. But after allowing myself to educate myself, listening to the people of color, sharing their message, sharing their stories, I realized that this could not be a better time. This is actually what my brand is all about. It isn't about racism, but it's about the internal struggles that we all deal with. It's about shifting yourself, leading yourself in the middle of a storm. So here it is, the biggest storm that we have ever thought we would ever have to deal with. This is a synchronicity for me, considering that I have been navigating storms my entire life. Internally and externally, I lived in chaos. And I deeply believe that my soul was like, you're gonna have a breakthrough at this point in time in the world. And everything is gonna come raining down on you at that exact moment at the same time. But you will still rise. Because in every storm, I stand tall, I stand true, and I stand in what I believe is right. And racism is not right. We are all one, and if one of us is being murdered, we all are, and it impacts all of us. Not, maybe you're trying to look away, but on an energetic level, it impacts all of us. Over the course of the week, I've lost many views with my content. And I see this truthfully. At first, I freaked out, being like, oh my God, how can I do this without views, without being seen? I see this as a blessing. And I'm going to shift the narrative. If you are also somebody who is experiencing the same thing, as you stand up and rise and talk about this really important thing that's going on in the world, perhaps you're also losing views. But know that this is the shift. This is the shift that's happening. This is the shift that's needed. Because as these people who stop watching, that feel so uncomfortable with the content that I'm sharing, they make space for the correct ones, for the ones who believe that we are all one and understand that we must stand together. So I share this message and this story with you to bring faith and hope that if you are my person who is here still watching, even after hearing my story, that you are meant to be here and there is some knowledge in this live for you. I also look at this as, wow, this is probably what a person of color feels like. not getting as many views because of who they are, just the color of their skin. They don't get this acceptance like the rest of us. And man, am I starting to understand it. The more I dive into it, and it is so, so wrong. So what you can do as a white person is donations. Donations are a really big influence in this time of crisis, because personally, being a privileged white woman, I have been successful in my careers. So money, though I didn't come from money, it's not necessarily hard for me to make it. I create something, I go out there, I can easily make money. I can find a job anywhere. I'm not limited in that way. So if you're somebody who has money and can make donations, I encourage you to make donations to funds that will help and support this rebellion that's going on. Join the protests if you can be a part of it, and more than anything, if you can't do that, then educate yourself on your privilege. Bring awareness to your platforms if you can stand for something. Make a choice on what you stand for, and understand that whether you stand or you stay silent, this is a time for judgment, and you will be judged. If you decide to stand up and lead, you will be judged on what you say. And in that, you have to take the consequences that come with that. There will be moments as you lead, becoming a leader in this type of conversation, you're going to stumble over your words. You're going to say the wrong thing and not come across in the correct way, and somebody will not agree with you or clap back at you. If you are somebody who continues to stand up and rise, you will learn to approach these situations with compassion and openness. That, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean that, that wasn't my intention. Teach me. What did I do wrong? How did I say this incorrectly? And being open to redirection of people who will say something if you are saying something incorrectly. We were never taught as white people how to navigate through this. This is the beginning of it. So standing up and speaking on something that we have never experienced but we are a part of is difficult. And I will continue to share my message around racism and share posts and whatever I feel called to share. So if you don't like it, you can see the door. But if you do, and you appreciate it, then I welcome you in heart center, and know that I'm coming from a place of love, acceptance, and that I fucking hear you. I do. I want the future for my niece and nephew to be much different than the current present that I live in. I don't want my niece and nephew to have to decide that they can't do a certain job or their dream job because they will not be able to make it there, or have struggles along the way, or die. You know, whatever it is that they want to do, I want them to follow their dreams. And in that, it's important for me to speak up and talk on this. If you're an emotional authority, you're more than likely probably going through the waves right now. And your understanding of what's going on, you're recalling every memory that you experienced, what they're experiencing, just to get a glimpse so that you can understand it, so you can relate in some way. You're recalling your pain, your trauma, and you're relating to these people's stories, and it's very possible that you're crying and releasing because you feel the pain. It can feel overwhelming. It can feel exhausting. But just know that this is a power that you have inside of you, being the emotional authority. To be able to understand at a very deep level the pain that's happening in the world. and this is a power. It is a gift. 50% of the world actually operate with an emotional authority. Our waves, our ups and downs, the depths that we are able to comprehend, 50% understand that. 50% do not. 50% of the world is actually riding on our waves. They probably feel like they are empaths. I think we're all empaths, quite frankly. I don't believe that your chart can determine that. It's your awareness. But 50% are running off of our waves and magnifying it inside of them. So these are the undefined emotional centers. But they're feeling it too. But they're feeling it and they're super overwhelmed by it. They naturally are avoiding it. They don't want to be a part of it, but they know that they must speak on it, but they're avoiding the conflict. Understand that how we deal with this experience right now in the world is going to be so different from person to person. And I ask for you to show up in whatever feels authentic to you. Show up in love and acceptance and understanding. And know that just because you're experiencing and you're strong and maybe you're deciding to be a leader and speaking vocally so much about this topic, that the next person may have completely different human design chart. Maybe they don't have a defined throat. Maybe they are not an emotional. And so for them to process and speak up and be a leader is different and difficult. And maybe that's not for them. But you can still make an impact regardless if you are speaking publicly or not about it. My suggestion for people who are avoiding and not wanting to speak on it because they don't want the conflict, you can still make a statement and say, this is very overwhelming. This experience is very overwhelming to me. It's really bright in here. It's really overwhelming to me and I want to speak on it, but I feel like I don't have the words and I don't know what to say, but what I do say is that I don't agree with it, because then it identifies of where you stand, at least. So today I want to talk to you about the truths of an emotional authority. I want to talk about how amazing you are. I want to share some knowledge on how to lead yourself and to understand that your emotional center is actually very unique to you. So how you experience your emotional authority is not just the same as any emotional authority. It's all different for us based off of what's in our chart. So just because I'm a big emotional person doesn't mean that you are, and that's okay. But with this understanding of yourself, you can learn to accept who you are at a deeper level so that you can lead yourself through your waves, lead yourself through your authority, and understand how to navigate it. The navigation is the same for all of us. Our experience with it is different. So the way in which you lead yourself through your authority will always be the same way. All of us deal with it in the same way. It's just the intensity that we feel it at. So if you're not an emotional authority and you're watching this, you're still welcome. This is still great knowledge to understand if you have anybody who's an emotional authority in your life. But there's also a lot of beautiful tools that I'm going to be sharing with you on, regardless if you're an emotional authority, on how to deal with emotions in general. So my intention here today is to bring us together, for you to know that you are not alone. And the way that you feel is very unique to you, but also that there's others out there just like you. So When I first found out my emotional authority, I went through a couple phases. And at first I was like, yes! Oh my god, yes! Somebody to tell me, something to tell me that there's nothing wrong with me. Oh my god, heck yes, I love this. And they were also delivering it to me in a way that was like, yeah, emotional authorities are powerful. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm powerful. And then it shifted into, why the fuck did I choose this? Like, I hate my emotions. They can be so intense, create chaos, and they impact everybody around me, and I hate that. Why can't I just be balanced? So I resisted. And as you know, what you resist persists. And then I shifted into the phase of, okay, they're here, they're not going away, and I've been resisting them for many years of my life, so how do I work with them? And I started to learn how to navigate them. I started to learn the tools that helped me shift, helped me deal, or helped me transform the energy that I was feeling. And now I'm at a place, my 4th stage, that I now see their power. I am deeply grateful for them, because even in the midst of this current storm that's going on in the world, I'm starting to see things click in my experience, and I'm like, that's why I felt that, so that I could understand and I'd be prepared for this moment in time. Because if I didn't have that experience, I would never be able to relate, and I would never be able to comprehend. I'm not going to say understand, I'm going to say comprehend, because I've never really dealt with a life of a person of color. And it's different, and I know that. So I have a very powerful gift to be able to understand a lot of things. And I see all sides of scenarios. I see your scenario that you're telling me and the other person's experience at the same time. And these are gifts, and they come very easily for me because I really believe it's my emotional authority. The emotional authority is a gift regardless if you are a big emotions person or not. The power of an emotional center is that you can understand things without having to go through them. You can comprehend the intensity with using your own experiences and your mind and magnifying and being like, hey, if I had a life with this consistently playing in my life, much like I've done here on understanding racism, I comprehend it. I recall all of my pain, all of my trauma. I remember how hard it was for me in those times. And then I magnify it and apply it in my life, and being like, what if I dealt with that on a consistent basis? So first I want to recognize people of color for their strength, because I know that if I had to deal with what they deal with on a consistent basis, I probably wouldn't be here. People of color are really fucking resilient. They are really strong. I believe that we are all really strong, but they're different because they have consistently dealt with the BS of my race, and they still rise. I follow so many people of color leaders who are super successful, and they rise and they rise and they rise again, and they do not let anybody put them down. Sure, internally it's a struggle, absolutely. So the internal struggle of an emotional center is common. Often we don't want to accept it. We don't want to feel the heaviness of the feelings that we feel. But your emotion center is a gift. And before you came here, you decided that your path, you decided that you were going to have this authority. Your soul decided that. I do believe that you decided where you wanted to go, the lessons you wanted to learn, and how you were going to get there. So you put in all of these things that you needed along the way, and you're like, yeah, give me that emotion center. I want that. I didn't understand that at first. When I first found out I was an emotional authority. And I was like, why would I choose that? Oh, I've been struggling with this part of myself for so many years. But your emotional authority is part of this journey. There's the power in it, and this authority is what's going to connect you with the correct things that bring you your everything you desire, your abundance, your house, whatever it is that you want to manifest, that life, that career. This is what is going to connect you with the correct path if you learn how to navigate it correctly. Ra, who is the founder, creator of human design, said that the emotional authority is the hardest one to navigate. It is the most difficult because if you have not already experienced when you are triggered so bad that you react in the moment, and being able to have the awareness to pull yourself out of there, especially if this is a common path or common reaction that you have, a common habit that you react when you're angry, when you're pissed off, when you're triggered, when you're sad, whatever it is, to unwire this, unwind it, is actually really difficult. But with this knowledge that I'm going to share with you today, I hope that this brings awareness to it. And I'm going to give you some tools on how to navigate yourself when you're in a wave, whether they be high or low, how to navigate it. When we're in a high wave and we're high on life and we're excitable and we're just like all in it, we have rose-tinted glasses on the world. And this is something that you need to understand with your authority, is that when you're in a high, you'll have rose-tinted glasses. When you're in a low, you'll have blue-tinted glasses. There is zero truth in the now for you, for me, for all of us emotional authorities. There's zero truth in the now. I resisted this in the first phase. I resisted this. I was like, no, I can make decisions. What are you talking about? I got this. I make great decisions. No. If you have not already noticed, when you make a decision and you're high on life, only to come down from that high, you realize that, oh, I'm not really feeling that decision anymore. Oh, I said I was going to hang out with so-and-so, or that I wanted to do that podcast, or that I wanted to do that interview, or whatever it may be. You come out of your high and you're like, oh, I don't have the energy for that, and I don't want to. After having this awareness that this happens, I'm like, oh, that's why I used to make a lot of mistakes. Also, when you're in a low, what can happen is that you can push people away. No, I don't want that. Somebody gives you an invitation. No, I don't want that. Come out of your low and you're like, oh, no, I kind of wanted that. That sucks. Now I ruined that opportunity. So just having the awareness that there is zero truth in the now. I'm telling you right now, you need to bring awareness to your wave. And we're going to talk about the waves right now. So each gate, if you didn't see it on Instagram, if you didn't see it on Instagram, I posted this little, hold on. Okay. I posted this chart. I have it on Instagram. I think it's correct. It's not backwards for you guys. So, we're going to go through this. There is, when you have a channel in your chart, for example, I'm going to show you mine. Let me pull it up here. I have a channel of the 55 to 39, oh, this way, 59 to 39, and the 30 to 41. These are full experience of my wave. So these are two different ones, And then I have a hanging gate of 49. 49. So with the hanging gate, until it's connected with somebody, I will feel the wave, but it won't be its fullest expression, the fullest intensity from it. However, I have family members who complete my channels, my hanging gates, which creates the full channel, which means that when I experience this emotional wave, it's very unstable because it's not my own. I will not have the awareness of when it's coming as much as I would if I was on the other ones. So let me just pull something up here. So we have the tribal wave. And the tribal wave is the first two channels. So the 49 and the 37 to 40, the 49 to 19. It'll connect from your emotion center. Ooh, it's hard to do this here. This one. So these two outer channels here, these two, 37 and 49, these are tribal waves. What that means is that this is a really great example that they gave in our class. Think of a husband and a wife, and over time the wife consistently does something that triggers and annoys the husband, and then out of nowhere he blows up and has his emotional wave. After he blows up, he's fine. The wave resets. So the way that it looks like is like this. It's like trigger, down, trigger, up. And it's like ratcheting itself up, and then it drops. So this wave, I actually can show you this, looks like this. Woo! Where is it? This one. This is the tribal. This wave ratchets up over time with small little triggers over and over until it explodes. It feels very unstable. It's little triggers over time. And this wave can act out in an emotional outburst. So, it's really bright. So the person on the receiving end of this who gets the blowout will feel awful, being left confused, hurt, and not understand because there's no warnings. It's just out of nowhere. It's like an explosion. And so with that wave, it's all about your needs. It's about physical touch. So for example, I have somebody in my family who completes this for me. And all I need, because it feels unstable, all I need is sometimes I'll notice that I'll get like triggered and start getting annoyed. And I'll need a hug. I just need like a hug, a touch on the hand, kind of like physical touch will calm the wave. And this is a way that you can, once you notice you're getting triggered, you're like, oh my God, I need a hug, or I need to feel some sort of physical touch. For a while, it was me just giving it to myself. And so this tribal wave is unstable. And just have that awareness. If you have that in your chart, you probably feel that instability inside of you. And you can feel that you have explosions. Navigating it really is about learning to have physical touch in some form of manner. Then we have the individual wave, which is the middle channels in your chart. So if you have your chart, pull it up. But I'll show you here again. So it's the middle ones here, 55 and 22. This is an individual wave. If you have a full channel here, you have this current wave. This one is the pulsating one. I'll show you. It's like this. This is the pulsating one. Individual. So this wave operates through desires. It's about peaks and valleys, highs and lows, and it's just like up, spike, spike down. It's about It's about short highs and short lows that are being spiked, and this might feel like instant spikes of highs and lows. The key to this wave is to understand that you need time alone. So if you notice that this is surfacing within you, that you're getting these spikes of highs and lows, you want to take some time alone, unplug from whatever it is. And then we have, so that's the 39 to 55 and 22 to 12. Then we have our abstract wave. And this is the collective desire one. So let me hear. This is the outside ones. The 30 and 36. If you have this in a channel, you have the full expression of it. So this one feels like this. It's like awkward. That's this one here. So that's what that wave feels like. And it's really about, I have this one. And after I found this awareness, I was like, oh, okay, I understand now how to navigate this. So for example, this one operates through your desires of feelings and moves from peaks to valleys. So for example, it's the attachment to expectations. As we get attached to our expectations of whatever outcome it is, it starts to rise. When that expectation is not met, it's an instant drop and low. So for example, back in 2019 when I had my own event, I was having an expectation of how many people were going to show up. And so I started to plan my whole event around this and was like, okay, I'm gonna get this many people. And like, I went through all of that. By the time that I went through my cutoff date, I didn't meet that expectation. So I went through a serious, like, emotional low. And I was like, I failed. I didn't do good in life, blah, blah, blah. This is me in a wave. You know, this is what happens when you have that expectation and it's not met. You dip low instantly. So the trick here with this wave, if you have this wave in your chart, don't get attached to expectations and outcomes. Learn to allow the universe to just deliver things to you. Learn to be surprised about what happens. When you can learn to stop having expectations on what the outcome will be from you doing something, then it won't be as intense and unstable. So this is the waves that we have in our emotional authority. And this is why sometimes you can have people who are like, I'm not a big emotions person, but I do feel the full like range and spectrum, but I'm not like very big emotions. And this is probably because they only have one or two, depending on which wave they have in their chart. It can make your experience of your emotional authority very different than the rest. So how do we navigate this? How do we bring awareness to this? And how do we move forward with this knowledge? The first thing, my first recommendation is that you need to bring awareness to when you're in a wave and when you're not. So my recommendation is Dailyo. It's an app. It is a tracking app. I'm going to show you one of my old charts. It's called Dailyo, and every single day you can track. If you don't get it every day, it's not a big deal, but just having the awareness. So here's a great example of one. This was May 2019. So I was tracking it every day. So hard to see. There we go. I was tracking my authority every day so that I could bring awareness to my waves, so I could understand. And Kelsey, expectations are the killer of that last wave. So the thing with these waves and how to bring awareness to them, regardless of what it is you want to know when you're in a high and when you're in a low. Being an emotional authority is that, one, there's no truth in the now, so don't ever make decisions in the now. You need to sit on it and allow yourself to go through your waves or go through. Try to give yourself 24 hours a minimum to make big decisions. If you can, give yourself a couple days. That's best. But sometimes we don't have that freedom. So I understand, but try to give yourself 24 hours to sit and think on things before you make decisions. Now, Dailyo, it's Dailyo. So Dailyo is a really great way to bring awareness when you're in a wave. Me being somebody who has all 4 emotional waves means that I need to be aware of when I'm in a high and when I'm in a low. When I'm tracking it, what I can see is that I'm like, I'm in a high right now. I'm in a high, so I will know that right now is not a good time to make decisions because I'm feeling high on life and buzzing. And when I'm on a low, I can predict, because I'm on a high, I know that I'll go down low. This is natural, right? You're an emotional authority. You will go up and down. I'm sorry to break it to you, but you will never be balanced for the rest of your life, okay? It's not going to happen. But there's a beauty in that, and there's a lesson to learn in your lows, there's a lesson to learn in your highs, and so it's really great because you get to have this colorful life that you get to understand people at a different level. You really understand a lot of different things, and you don't have to live through it. So tracking your emotions is number 1. If you are triggered, this is a big one for me. This was my emotional intelligence aspect that I learned. You must walk away. If you are triggered in a conversation or get into an argument, I encourage you to walk away. And you're going to walk away so you can calm yourself. And when you're walking away, I want to encourage you to walk away in a respectful manner, because if you learn how to have grace in your waves, in your triggers, in your everything, and show people respect, you will feel better about yourself later. So I'm going to share my story a little bit deeper. In the past, before I knew that I was an emotional authority, I dated lots of turbulent, I don't know, crazy relationships. I've had crazy relationships, toxic, abusive, both ends. And when I was in my waves, I would even be abusive. I would say mean things. I would do things that were out of alignment with my truth, with who I am and what I believe in the world. I was not very nice sometimes, and that is the truth of an emotional wave, is that you have a tinted view on everything that is happening. So understanding that you must walk away to calm yourself is the ultimate tool. That is the most important thing. So now when you walk away, this is where you want to learn what works for you. How do you deal and navigate yourself through your emotional wave? For me, because I have all 4 of them, it's different all the time. So what I'm feeling in the moment is, first, you must allow yourself to feel. If you're angry, allow yourself to feel angry. Allow yourself to really sit with it. I'm a huge person on meditation. So in human design, it's about the body leads the way, right? So our body graph is telling us our authority, right? And your authority is emotional authority, which means that your emotion center, that there's zero truth in the now. So it's leading you and telling you that right now is not the correct time. So I have a couple resources that if you need them, you can use them, and they're free. There is the Art of Allowing, which gives you, I think it's 6 different tools. I cover tapping, I cover meditation, I cover chanting, there's a couple other ones I can't remember now. But the Art of Allowing is a free masterclass. It's on my website if you want to use it. These have amazing tools on how to navigate yourself through your emotional waves, whether it's sadness, anxiety, depression, triggered, all of that. Really great tools. Check it out. There's also my body meditation that brings your focus out of your mind, because our emotions take over and our mind starts to run wild. So the body meditation, which is free on SoundCloud under my name, it will bring you back into your body. And then I also have the forgiveness meditation. So the forgiveness meditation was a downloaded meditation that was given to me by my spirit guide. And it's about forgiving the other person. So when people come in and we're triggered and they hurt us, naturally we want to hurt them back. And that's normal and human. But in order to set yourself free from this karmic experience, because the truth is that if you deal with situations in a reactive way, you are creating a karmic tie and cord to this person. This was my biggest lesson that I've gone through recently, is that I've had exes and people come in and they hurt me, and then I'm like, fine, forget about it, and I'll block them out of my life. And this is still a method of me hurting them. I didn't handle it gracefully. I didn't handle it good. So what happened is that I pushed them away because I was hurt. And I created this karmic cycle that continued to play until I decided to clean it up. So I went back and was like, I know I pushed you away, and I just want to let you know that that was not my truth, and I was hurt, and it was not correct, and that's not how I want to handle myself moving forward, but that this is my boundary. And speaking with people who hurt you with, this is my boundary, and this is not acceptable in my life, and I don't put up with that, so whatever your boundary is and your new circumstances. When you do that, you release yourself from this karmic energetic cycle that will continue to play in your life over and over. It is so important. This is emotional intelligence. This is really important. Being an emotional authority, to have this intelligence, to know that your actions create karmic cycles that will play over and over, and how you lead yourself through your emotional wave is what will determine your pathway to success. So learning to step away, giving yourself 24 hours to 48 hours, and understanding there's no truth in the now. So after you've done all of that, and you have understood where your calm is, you want to be able to make decisions in your calm. So having the awareness, am I in a high right now, or am I in a low? And if you're not in either, you're not feeling high on life, but you're feeling calm, cool, and collected, then this is your balance. And so understanding that where your balance is, so that you can bring the awareness to when you can make the correct decisions for yourself. Because when you're balanced, this is where you're in a balance, no high or low. There's no glasses on. There's no sunglasses on. There's no tinted, no blue, no red. And these are the things that are going to bring you the correct decisions. So for example, I'm going to use actually a couple experiences that I've gone through. My first masterclass that I did, maybe even the art of allowing, or there's another masterclass. There's a masterclass I did a while ago. I made the decision to do it in the moment of a wave. So by the time that I came to perform and it was time to deliver it, I wasn't as excited about it as I was with HD Basics, for example. I was so, with HD Basics, I sat there for a week on this idea and allowed myself to really understand, okay, does this excite me? I want you to pick a frequency that is in alignment with you. For me, in order to know whether something is correct for me or not, I have to have excitement. And finding that excitement even in my calm. So as I sat there with HD Basics and was like, I have this idea, I want to do it, I'm going to sit on it, allow myself to go through my experience. When I was in the calm, I was like, well, do I want to do this? Like tapping into the frequency, and I'm like, yeah, it excites me. Like I really want that. I'm getting jazzed just thinking about it. So that's how I know it's correct for me, because that's my frequency. If there is excitement within anything that I decide to do in my business, that means it's correct for me. But I have to have that awareness of, if I'm in a high, this excitement that I may be feeling could be incorrect, or maybe not as much as it is supposed to. It's tinted. And same for being in low. So with this awareness, I have a beautiful offer, which is emotional authority mastery. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, and I am beyond excited to present this or to have this in the world, because I am like, this is my purpose. This is why I'm here. This is what I'm supposed to do in the world, and I'm jazzed about it. On June 16th, Emotional Mastery is going to be live. It's going to be a 6-week journey that you and I, in a group container, are learning about your wave. I'm going to equip you with the knowledge. We're going to go in and identify your wave. It's going to be a container of only emotional authorities. All emotional authorities, regardless of the magnitude of your wave, are invited, and you are welcome to join. And it's going to be 6 live calls. I'm just going to pull it up here. It's going to be 6 live calls. It's going to be with other emotional authorities, so it's not just us alone. We're going to go into how you navigate yourself. There's going to be an emergency emotional authority booklet that comes along with it that is there for you to use when you start getting into your wave, of how to navigate yourself through it, bringing awareness to what your wave, what's the wave that you're currently feeling, and what's triggering it. We're going to talk about the difference between, hi Paige, thank you. We're going to talk the difference between a trauma wave and an emotional wave. And I will do your reading, yes. We're going to talk the difference about an ego or an emotional wave or a trauma wave, because a trauma wave is very different. For example, yes, I feel big emotions. Yes, I feel the full spectrum. Sometimes I can wake up, be sad for no reason, and my life is really wonderful. That's the gift of the universe. However, if being triggered from trauma, that's a different experience, and that's much, much different than your authority. So having the awareness of, is this trauma or is this my emotional wave, is super important. We're going to be learning to navigate those and how to allow ourselves to feel this. The transformation through this is that you get to see your power, you get to see your confidence, and you get to see your impact. You can learn to do this on your own. Absolutely. I can let you know that I have been struggling with it for many years of my life, and I tried to do it alone. And it wasn't until I got the support of others to be able to navigate myself, because having the support with me in emotional mastery means that when you go through your wave, I will remind you of your power, and I will remind you on how to navigate it, because over time, what happens is that you're able to navigate yourself in the end. And we're going to be learning about the 4 different waves here that I was talking about, but we're going to go deeper into them. So every single gate in your solar plexus, in the emotion center, actually has an underlying fear. And so we're going to go into those fears. We're going to talk about them so that you can learn how to work yourself through them. We're going to do some shadow work, which is super, super important, because we need to bring awareness to our shadows so that it doesn't run us. For many years, I had been ignoring the shadow before I did Shadow Masters, and realizing that as I ignored my shadow, it actually caused me to go into emotional waves and triggered me into a much different experience than needs to be. This is because I was ignoring the shadow, and what resists persists. So it's going to be a very sacred container, and it's live on June 16th is the first day. So we're going to be connecting. My intention with this is to bring you together with other like-minded emotional authorities and understand and come together and support each other. And I'm going to be sharing the knowledge that you need to be able to navigate yourself, because once you navigate this part of your human design, it's 90% of the work. And you can do it on your own, but it will take much longer and it won't be as fun. So early bird pricing right now is $555 for the 6 weeks, and that's it. After what's the date that I wrote down? I think it's in 5 days. It will be going up. The original price of Emotional Mastery is $888, so it's heavily discounted right now. If you're fully feeling the pull, if you want to learn how to navigate your authority, if you want to be a part of this, send me a message and I can send you the link, and we could talk a little bit more about it if you're unsure or whatever you're feeling. Because in this, mastering this part, you will connect yourself with everything else that you're wanting in your life. If you can learn to lead yourself through your waves, leadership through your emotional wave amongst the storm. It doesn't matter that there's a storm. You still continue to stand and to rise. With me, what I experienced as I was trying to navigate myself in the first couple of years of my studies of human design is that I was like, I can do this by myself. I got this. So I was trying to navigate myself, and what I found is that I consistently would get knocked off my path. The second that I would come into a wave or something would happen, but I would just hide. And I would hide and not be seen, and I would not allow myself to stand up and rise and lead myself. I lacked the ability to lead myself through the wave without getting knocked off my path, without detouring and continuing to rise. So once I got support on how to navigate myself and somebody there to remind me that this is what happens, life happens to us. It always happens to us. So, it's really bright in here. Sorry. So that is my knowledge for you guys today, and this is going to be a very deep spiritual experience in emotional mastery. I have done a lot of training, meditation, hypnosis, sound therapy. There is so many beautiful tools that I'm going to be sharing with you in this container, and it's all about connection with others and being there to support each other through this experience, because we are not alone. And that is the intention with this, is we are not alone, and we will be connecting with other emotional authorities. Because when you can learn to lead yourself through this and stand up and be a leader through your own emotional wave, not only do you get to have that life that you're desiring, but you will inspire others as well. You will start to see your power, feel your confidence, and just feel so grounded within yourself. So that's all I got for you today. Oh, also, I don't think that I even said this at the beginning, which is so funny. I got detoured. But if you do share this, if you watch the whole thing, I know I still have some viewers, if you watch the whole thing, if you share this on your timeline and tag me in it, you will be entered into a draw of winning a free human design reading. If you sign up for Emotional Mastery, you get a free reading anyways, because I want you to be knowledgeable on your chart, and we're going to go over what's in there to begin with so that you can understand. Because if you are an emotional authority and you're a manifesting generator, it's a little bit different for you than it is for a projector or you know, a manifester, for example. So just if you do sign up for Emotional Mastery, it's for any type. It is not limited to the type, but you will receive a free human design reading, and we'll go over your chart in depth so that I know that you're up to speed before the course. And that's all I got for you guys. So if you share this, you can win a free human design reading, a basic reading. And Yeah, thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for holding space for my story at the beginning. So much compassion and love for you guys. And I'm sending you all of the acceptance. And know that your authority actually is a power. And I want to be that one who shows you, because I see the power. There's so much power in being an emotional authority, because you actually have the ability to shift things. You are the life of the party. You are somebody who can walk into a room and completely transform energy, and people can connect into that. That's because you hold the power of vibration, the power of waves, and you can see and project that power outwards and use it to your advantage and your good as well. So sending you guys so much love. I love you. Thank you for everybody. Thank you, Kelsey, for watching. And I hope that if you have any questions, you know, my DMs are always open. If you need more guidance, you want more understanding, feel free to ask me. I do human design basic readings, offer one-to-one coaching. Whatever you feel the pull for, I'm here to support you and wish you well. Ciao, ciao. And